The next prompt is, white privilege is a real and present force in America.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be a bridge right now. So this is my thought, and I just want to insert real quick. I don't think Charlie was shot for political violence. I don't put it in that category. I'm a follower of Jesus. I think that he was shot for proclaiming the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is my opinion. So I just want to. I think we're in a spiritual war. That's my opinion. I think we can all contend that there's evil.
I agree with that. I think there's evil that are greater than anything red or blue, and I think a lot of people aren't ready to have that conversation.
So
As to how you categorize what happened with Charlie Kirk.
I don't look at Charlie Kirk's death and go, wow, he was politically assassinated.
That's not your interpretation
That's
of it.
not my
How do
interpretation.
you interpret it?
I interpret it as that we are told, Christ was killed because of what he was saying. The Jews killed Christ. So he was being disruptive, and he was basically a truth teller and was killed for telling the gospel. Because ultimately, I believe my foundation and my fundamental level that I'm going to derive even my beliefs from, even what I want to answer what the question was too. But I just wanted to insert that because I didn't want to say that.
But do you have an interpretation that's not rooted, like people need to be religious in order to understand what you're saying? Like, do you just have like a...
Well, I think we're in a battle between good and evil. That's what I think. I've seen evil at my door. I've got, for sake of time, I have, I'm not going to sit here and tell you my life story. But yeah, but there is a lot of evil, be it George Floyd, be it Charlie's assassination, and I think that there is a unifying factor, that there is good and there's evil. Now, that obviously goes into, okay, well, what do you define as evil and what do you define as good and all the things, right? So my fundamental level of that comes from biblically speaking. That's where I go to find my grounding and what I defined as good and evil. So I'm always going to have, if someone's not biblically living their life, we're not going to agree because we're living by two different moral standards, and that's fine. I'm like, okay, that's great, but don't tell me how to live my life. And I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. So that's kind of my thing. This is what I think about white privilege, is that I do believe because of Black history in America, there is generational stuff that that the Black community has had to overcome that the white community has not. Okay, so I want to start there, and I think and I believe that there are things and roads that they're just harder. They're harder to overcome. Now, in saying that, there is a really real overcoming that the Black community had to do. I'm just sorry that is the reality. It's a dark piece of history in America, and from the Jim Crow laws all the way to the Civil War, everything. I mean, Black Code before they came up with Jim Crow laws and all those things. That is a dark part of the Black community that is ingrained in your guys' history generationally. So there's mentalities, there's abuse, there's things that you guys probably were passed down in your guys' line that weren't passed down in my line. And so I can acknowledge that. Now, I would also come from the standpoint of that once we become a Christian and once we meet Jesus, we become new in him. And he can give us newness, and he can break what we have been through and what we've come from. And so my stance will always be to lift people up. To a place of equalness. That is my personal way that I operate in my life. So
I'd like to say one thing. We are sitting with the understanding that there will ever be equality. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that just purely from a race perspective. And when we talk about privilege exists amongst everyone. What tends to be more prevalent is the privilege you see that white Americans would have, if you're looking at, from the lens of someone else. And that's all we can ask.